Okay, the first stitch is going to be the placement line for the insole bright. On the insole bright, I don't think it matters a whole bunch which way is up, front, back. Just pick one and go with it. The next stitch is for the top of the pad body. Now you're going to remove the hoop from the machine and we're going to tape the fabric to the back. And you can see where the fabric needs to go. You're going to just, it doesn't matter. I mean, if it matters which way is up, you'll pay attention to that when, let's see, I'm going to put hot up here. Yeah, so this is the top. So I'm going to take some tape. You can use painter's tape. You can use this is 3M tape. You can use regular embroidery tape, whatever you want. But the trick is to have it stuck enough so that it doesn't get folded up underneath when you put the hoop back in the machine. There we go. It's ready to go back in the machine. And I always like to do a little double check and just make sure everything's where it's supposed to be. And now the next stitch is going to stitch that down. Now it's going to do the all over quilting stitching. The bobbin thread is almost empty. I received an error, and if that happens to you, that's easy enough to fix. It has a special button you can press on the luminaire. I'm not going to do that on this one because most of you don't have that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit return and clear the error on the screen, and I'm going to do a cut. And when a lot of machines don't have that kind of sensor, or if they do, it's sometimes too late. So what I'm going to do is take out the hoop, put another bobbin in. So I touched the screen and went back to 0 on my stitching. So let me show you how to fix that if you ever have that happen. Maybe your power goes out, something. I'm going to turn this just like this so you guys can see the machine move while I do it. Most machines will have a needle plus minus of some sort. I'm going to touch that. And here on mine, it has arrows that go up and down that will advance you through the stitch, the thread changes. And I'm going to do that. And if you watch this picture right here, it will tell you what stitch we're on. We need to get back to the all over stitching. So I'm just going to jump through these. There's the all over stitching. You can see it right there. And now I need to get back to right here. And so to do that, I'm going to jump ahead 1,000 stitches at a time. I can go back or I can go forward. That's too far. Minus 1,000. I'm going to plus 100, plus 100. Ooh, that's real close right there. So now I'm going to play with, that's actually pretty close to good. I'm only a few stitches off. I'm going to plus 10, and that's too far. That's about exactly right where it told me it ran out of bobbin thread. That's pretty good. I'm gonna go. Let's see how we do. Perfect. Got a tail that didn't get sucked down in there. I'll trim that. Now that was old school the way I did that. On these fancy new machines, you can also touch this button right here, the W with the little green cross on it. Let me get close so you can see that. You can touch this button right here, and that will put a green crosshair right on your fabric and tell you exactly where the needle's going to start. Okay, the next stitch are a couple of placement lines it's going to do on either side right here. I'm just going to leave the thread the same. Okay, now you want to remove the hoop from the machine. Okay, so this next part, I'm going to turn this right to me so I get it right. I'm sorry, usually I do it toward you, but I want to get it right to me. What you want to do, so you can see these little marks right here. These are registration marks. You want to put the edge, the top edge of the little lining piece right even with the marks, and then you want to make sure that your stitch lines right here are even with the stitch line of the main part of the pot holder. So you don't, can you guys see? You don't want it over here, okay? That'll make it off. You want to make sure to line it up so that your stitch lines are even. Also, when you're looking down at the top of it, so I'm making sure that mine is lining up with each one of these points right here, okay? You just want that to look right. That looks good. And they tell you to pin it in the middle so that nothing is going to accidentally get hit by a needle out here on the side. There. And then we'll do that with the same thing with the other one. This next stitch is where it's going to attach these two pieces to the main part of the pot holder. And so I'm going to change my thread to black. The next stitch is going to be a zigzag stitch that goes all the way around to let you make sure that you have trimmed your fabric close enough. So right now we're going to take the hoop from the machine. Do not remove your project from the hoop. We're going to trim all of this excess. We're going to trim the insole bright. We're going to trim everything away from the back. Do not trim the stabilizer. You want to leave that in the hoop. when the zigzag stitch goes over this, if there's anything that really is sticking outside of that zigzag, you're going to want to remove the hoop from the machine again and trim it again and get it as close as possible, because you want all of this outside stitching to be captured inside that zigzag. That zigzag is just going to act as an alignment guide for you. If you accidentally cut into your stabilizer, you would want to take a piece of tape and tape the hole up. Keep it so it's nice and strong in there. It's going to have a strong tug with the final satin stitch around the edges, and so you want to make sure you've got a nice good hooping in there. Back into the machine we go. So now is when you're going to want to go take it out of the hoop and take a look. I can see from here, I think everything is going to be just fine. There might be a little bit of Insulbright up at the top that needs to be trimmed. Yeah, I did a pretty good job trimming it in the beginning. So what it wants you to do, if you have anything, like see there's a little bit hanging outside of the zigzag right there, you're going to want to trim that. Don't worry about trimming the zigzag stitches themselves. They're going to be covered by the final satin stitch. This is ready for the final satin stitch. It's going to take about 20 minutes. Well, I am running out of bobbin thread. On the back where I did the tie off, I'm going to trim those little tails. That's looking pretty good. You can see this. See, this is where you want to use a Sharpie and just go around that. We will take care of that when we get near the end. I'm going to back up 20 stitches. I'm going to hit that little light. Okay, let me show you guys. I just touched that button right there with the W, and it has a little crosshair. And look, can you see the little crosshair? So it tells you where it's going to start. I'm going to back up maybe about 5 more. I already backed up 20 stitches. That's good. That's going to be captured in those other stitches. Perfect. And then as soon as you get to going, it turns the light off automatically. Okay, we're all finished. You know, I just now am realizing that I did not put down the additional layer of stabilizer recommended by the designer, but that's okay because the 541 Wash and Gone was strong enough to be able to handle it without falling apart. I found it a little bit bulky. I did do it on the first hot pad, and on this stuff you really didn't need it. Okay. So now we need to trim this as close as possible. You do not want to cut these stitches, but you want to trim it really close, like within a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. And I'm going to do that using a quilting ruler and a rotary cutter. And I am going to make sure that I can see the stitching edge. As I look down on it straight, I can see the edge of the stitching in the ruler. And that way I make sure, and you don't want it to slip at all. So that's good. This is just an easy way to get it started. Then I'm going to take my scissors, my curved embroidery scissors, and go all around the edge and trim it up as close as possible. If you do cut the stitching, you can use a little dot of fray check, and that will keep that from raveling. Okay, that's it. We're all done. Now, the directions tell you that you can take a swab, a wet swab, and go around the edge and get rid of this if you want. I get a little impatient, and I put mine in the sink, and it did get kind of stiff because it's got glue inside of it, literally. I mean, that's what the water-soluble stabilizer turns into. It gets a real gummy. You could throw this into the washer, and it would come out completely soft and real nice. And I'll probably do that with both of these. But y'all, these came out so cute. Look. I think they came out adorable. This is a lot of fun, you guys. These are great little gifts. If you know somebody who just got a new house, figure out their new color scheme and make them some little oven mitts. These are wonderful. I really like them. They're very well made. So, all right, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to go find something to cook. Talk to you later. Go sew something. Bye.